Hello, true believers. Welcome back to another edition of DC's Animated Classic Reviews. My name is Jim, and today I will be taking a look at 2003's Batman Mystery of the Batwoman. Before I begin today's weekly episode, that's right, I'm not going to let any health issues slow me down. You have two very, very simple things to do. Number one, do yourself a favor and subscribe to this channel because Brent is putting out some phenomenal content. And number two, drop a comment below after you're done watching this video and let me know if I got it right or wrong. I have to say, this is so good. This was one of the best DC films I have watched yet. Nothing will ever top my beloved Batman, The Dark Knight Returns. That's never going to happen. And as much as I really loved the Mask of the Phantasm, this show just nails it on all cylinders, and it was a real treat to watch. What I like about these cartoons is that they're really they're bite-sized stories. They're very simple to understand. The animation is usually pretty good. Sometimes you get a little trickle of, maybe a decent, background song. Usually get one or two really cool scenes, and you get kind of just a very low-key whodunit. This film, I don't know where this came from because I've been watching these now for a while. This had so many cool elements to it that we don't see in other Batman movies, and I don't know why they stopped this. It starts off with a really cool opening scene, something like you would see out of like a James Bond movie, with this big production, like animated music video almost introduction, giving us an idea of who all the characters are and kind of what's going on. And then at the end, we get yet another really cool closing animated, and the credits aren't and you're just your standard credits where it just runs through the name. It's got a little bit of like a music video flair to it. Really nice production value on both ends. So I think it does a really good job of just kind of like getting you into it. And then when you leave, you're like, yeah, that was really good. I don't know why they stopped that. I'm looking at the Wikipedia pages. I always pull up with these just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And there is a 33 title soundtrack. 33 things. It was a soundtrack composed by Lolita Retmanis. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's somebody famous or not. Produced by John Takis and mastered by James Nelson. And it was released. And there was another animated film I didn't get to see called Chase Me that included some of the music as there as well. This was a really good soundtrack though, and I really enjoyed it. And it really complements the show, and even more so that it's not just instrumental. I think that was the really key thing. It had lyrics. You typically don't get that. You get these, and I love Mask of the Phantasm for it, but you think of Mask of the Phantasm's opening scene where it's this really grand orchestra type of music, and it's cool, but I guess adding lyrics to it just puts it on a whole nother level. I really like that. This was the first animated film for me that I actually saw both Penguin and Bane. Penguin's design was really cool. I love that each of his canes had different effects, or his umbrellas, I should say. He had the poison gas. He had the poison blob. I don't know what you'd call it. Missiles, machine guns. It was great. I didn't know what he was going to use next. That was really a lot of fun. I'm looking at my phone here for notes. It's because I was feverishly typing notes as I went through this. We also are introduced to Bane, and I don't know much about the history of Bane, but he's not Spanish anymore. But in this film, he was very Spanish, which was fine. It was Senor Batman. A lot of R was rolling. He had the giant tube sticking out of his head, which connected to his arm, which gave him the Bane juice to jack him up. Loved his character design. He had these little thin pencil legs, and then he was 3 times wider than he was taller. He was phenomenal. He was a true menacing force. He absolutely wrecked Batman, which was interesting to see. I loved him in the show, and I didn't expect him to be kind of the big bad at the end. I wasn't really expecting that, so throwing another villain in the mix, I'll take it. The real drama of it, obviously, the title of the film, Mystery of the Batwoman. Cleverly, they didn't call it Mystery of the Batwomen, which is really, really good because this had a zinger in it. I did not see this coming. We were very quickly introduced to a very reckless Batwoman who, in this really cool opening action sequence, absolutely no regard for any human life or anything else, was on a pure mission of destruction. She gets on this truck carrying these weapons. She's like blowing it up. She's using the grenade. There's like this kind of grenade plasma gun things. She's using them on the truck, blowing up more stuff, shooting it at other people. Just totally reckless and wild. I loved it. And we come to find that we think we know who it is because they quickly introduce three separate women in very rapid succession. I'm like, okay, so clearly it's one of the three, of course, hence the mystery of the Batwoman. But then in a really cool moment about halfway through, they hard clear two of them almost instantly. And it's like, okay, it has to be the crime boss's daughter. That makes the most sense. That's the weirdest kind of, okay, I'm with that. And then we come to find out that all three are actually Batwoman. And they take turns being Batwoman based on the mission set that they are doing. They all have unique skills that they bring. You have the police officer who obviously understands the law and can use her, use the police resources to kind of figure out where the bad guys might be in that sense. You have the woman who works for Bruce Wayne, who's making all this really cool computer technology, and she's got this weird alloy that she can throw and it can manipulate shapes. And she makes all their tech. They have these things that remind me of the Hobgoblin's little airplane thing. I don't know what it's called, but where they're flying around in these like little Batwing things. They can like lay on them, and it's kind of like a little mini hover pack kind of deal. And then you have the crime boss's daughter who overhears daddy making business deals, and she can sneak in there. So they all have their own distinct reasons for being the Batwoman, and they all together work in unison. And at the end, all three of them appear. They all have their hero moments, which was really, really cool. It was a nice touch. I was a little disappointed that at the end they all disband, with the big bad being killed, or not killed, but eliminated essentially. I don't think you ever kill a DC villain, right? I mean, I don't think that ever happens. But they all decide that they're not going to be Batwoman anymore, and they all go off to live normal lives. I would have loved to see this continue. I think the idea of three people being the same hero is awesome. And that moment when Bruce Wayne figures out that all three are actually the Batwoman, I thought was a really cool touch. Really, really enjoyed this. I thought the animation was really good. Brent was telling me it was drawn on black paper, which really explains why there are so many just complete black darkness scenes. You'll have like a light hovering in the background, which would indicate like depth or something. But really, really good job of just not showing things as much as showing things, which I think really framed a really, really moody environment, particularly towards the end, when you're dealing with the big bads and you're working your way through the boat and you're seeing them, you're seeing all these secret compartments and everything. I think the art style really did a phenomenal job here, really painting a phenomenal picture of just kind of how brooding and villainous these guys were. They always have these shadows on their faces, and they're like twiddling their thumbs, and they're evil. And you feel there's some tension there, like especially when Batman shows up, of course, to try to save the day, and he's struggling with Bane just as much as everyone else is because Bane's a monster. It's cool that everybody kind of steps in. Robin has a moment. All the three of the Batwomen have their moment. Even the villainous father who ends up at the end, saving his daughter and kind of turning his back on the crime family. It was very good. And then, of course, like I said, you get to the end credits and everything's exciting and happy and fun again, and we're all having a blast. I can't say enough good things about this, really. I really, really enjoyed this. I'm looking here again at Wikipedia, and it says it was the fourth film that they released in the DC animated universe. So I don't know when they dropped this idea of this really fun opening and closing credit. And I'm be curious to see, because I've watched recent films, they don't have that. It's a shame they don't bring that back, because I think it really puts you in a fun mood, and it was a real treat to watch. So do yourself a favor and check this out. I really think you guys are going to like it. I'm going to have to ask Brent a little bit more about this Chase Me. I did not see it on Vudu. Maybe it was there and I missed it. It says it's just a very short, what is it, like a 6-minute film or something? Very, very tiny bonus featurette of Batman chasing Catwoman. I can't say anything about that. It seems to be lumped in, though, with the official soundtrack is the only reason I'm mentioning it here for completeness. But with that, I am closing out this video, and I'm going to go get some rest. But I powered through for Brent. I want you to power through for Brent. I want you guys to subscribe. I want you guys to take care of yourselves. And remember, I will always see you guys in the funny pages.